Hello, everybody. My name's Rick McCutcheon. I'm a Dynamics 365 MVP, and I'm here today with Richard Hughes from Seer 365. Richard, introduce yourself and start telling the people about Seer 365.
Thanks, Rick, and thanks for the opportunity to come on today. So my name is Richard Hughes, as you said. I'm the Partner Strategy Director at Seer 365. So I've been in and around the Dynamics channel for a couple of years now. So I started in 2004 in January. So this is my 18th anniversary this year. When we chatted last, I kind of it's a good way of trying to frame where in the Dynamics world and how long you've been around. So AX4 and CRM 1.2 was when it started for me.
I'm going to say that, like Jimi Hendrix said, tire tracks all across your back. You've got lots of experience in this world.
Yeah, many gray hairs underneath this good lighting.
And
so
this is good because you grew up with the product and you understand forgive me, the pun, dynamics of the product, but you understand where the product needs help. And I think you guys hit it with Seer. So let's talk about Seer.
Yeah. So what we were thinking was there must be a better way of doing the amount of the information that you need to gather from the customer doesn't change, right? You need to know how the business works, what they're trying to achieve, the challenges they're facing, and how they as an organization want to move forward. So what we've done is we've created a tool that's a partner would sign up to the tool on a subscription model, and then they would use the tool with their end customers and prospects. And it's broken down into two component pieces. So the first one is Guide 365 Discover, and that really is a tool for your pre-sales activities. So finding out exactly what functionality the organization needs, and really breaking down how Microsoft Dynamics can help them achieve that. On the back of that, we then work through the licensing. As we all know, Microsoft Dynamics licensing is really simple. So there's a guide, excuse the pun, that walks them through what licenses they need across BC, F&O, and CE. So it'll break down the licenses, and then we'll give a pricing based on either CSP or EA, depending on how the partner sets it up. And then we'll also calculate a services for them as well. So off the back of that, if you think of that work, typically that could have taken months, depending on the type of organization that's being sold to. So whereas that, you're able to do it very quickly. So rather than months, we're able to turn that into a period of a couple of weeks.
And what I like about it is it's consolidated in one spot, because I do a lot of coaching for sales organizations, and I've got my sales rep in there grabbing as much information as they can. Then they got to go pull an architect in and maybe a sales engineer in. So they're all kind of, okay, what did we hear? What did we know? Where I think the customer now, who's probably a more sophisticated buyer than they've ever been before, is going to like the fact that, all right, I'm going to fill this out. And then when people come to me, they're going to have the answers I'm looking for.
Absolutely. And then just to add on top of that as well, obviously partners out there that have been working with Microsoft for a long period of time, that vertical knowledge clearly is a key factor in the most successful partners. And what partners are able to do is add their own vertical knowledge on top of the tool, and that's entirely theirs. So it means that rather than having one or two people within an organization that really understands that niche that you're working in, as an example, one of our partners is doing it around aircraft leasing, something that I know nothing about. But they're able to add those questions on there, so the terminology is right for the customer. And that's saving. So in one example, a customer wanted to go through this process, large multinational in 34 countries around the world, and they'd planned on doing that over a period of 9 months, and we were able to do that in 3 weeks.
And how long would it take usually the customer to fill in this information?
So in that case, well, it depends, but normally around about 18 hours worth of effort.
Okay. All right.
So, and that's not one person for 18 hours, right? Yes. So you'd have somebody in finance doing it for a couple of hours, somebody in HR for a couple of hours, as an example.
And that's good too, because as we're going through the sales process with somebody, we're going to get to a point to say, okay, let's gather this information. And I think that, we're going to see whether this is a qualified opportunity or not, whether they engage with this. Right. So I think there's an overall, a really good positioning for this product within the partner channel.
So that's the discover piece. Design, which is for the analysis and design phase. Again, if you think of the workshops that you would normally run with a customer in that initial phase of the deployment, a lot of the questions would be the same on each one of your deployments. So this way you're able to standardize those questions. So you're not getting a difference between one architect and another. So you're able to have, and obviously that has massive benefits further down the line as well. But those questions, again, are answered by the end customer. The survey set up for the partner. They add their own specific questions that they would want to ask the customer. So again, end customer filling it in, accelerating that analysis and design phase. Now, neither of these tools are meant to completely replace people or consultants. What they're doing is allowing them to spend more time on the stuff that brings the most value, rather than asking questions that can be automated.
And I don't think we're replacing here. I think we're saving time and documenting what doesn't get documented, right? And what gets missed.
Absolutely.
And it's easy to go back to, we have a lot of times where we're going back to a customer in a project and saying, well, you didn't tell us that, right? Well, now we're going to know specifically what the customer told us they needed. And, we can come back, it's documented, and this is what we're basing our quotes off of. So I think it's fantastic. With
a full audit as well, right? So we've all been there where a customer said, I want the system to be blue, and you design them and build them a blue system, and they're like, no, I wanted yellow. So you got that full audit in there as well. So Richard, tell us how you work with partners. So we work completely through partners. So we've got 18 partners we're working with today around the world. So that's a subscription model. A really key part of the onboarding is really embedding the solution in the way that you as a partner work. So there's that onboarding period, and then they're able to then create surveys for those verticals they work in for their end customers. So it's a monthly subscription when we're looking for partners all around the world to carry on working with. Well, Richard, I think in this marketplace, you're in the right place at the right time. So thanks for your time today, for coming on Partner Talks, and we'll be catching up with you in the future to find out what's new at Seer 365. I look forward to it. Thanks again for all your time.